currently 44 people have joined. So we can start. We may continue. So our today's speaker is Dr. Upendra Kumar, who has done MTech in IT from IIIT Allahabad and PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from UPTU Lucknow. Currently, he is working as assistant professor in Department of Computer Application MCA in Institute of Engineering and Technology, that is IIT Lucknow. He has around 4 years industrial experience in renowned organizations in TCS and worked there in many corporate projects as Java J2EE developer. He has more than 8 years teaching and research experience. His area of research interest is digital image processing, machine learning, biomedical signal processing, robotics and embedded in C, medical imaging, diagnostic system, big data analysis, etc. He has published many international and national journal and conference research papers with quality research outcome. He has published one Indian patent and also submitted another patent application through IIIT Allahabad. Dr. Upendra Kumar has also published 4 book chapters in international level journals like IGI Global Publisher. Currently, 4 research scholars are doing research under his supervision and they are on final stage of completion of PhD thesis work. He has delivered 10 expert lectures in various international and national conferences, workshops, and seminars. He has also created video lectures on various subjects and uploaded on YouTube and got very good response from viewers. He is member of various review committees of national and international journals, conferences, and professional bodies. Apart from teaching and research work, he has also some administrative role working as Deputy Dean of Students' Welfare in the Institute. His topic will be for today will be machine learning applications in IoT. So I cordially welcome Dr. Upendra Kumar sir to please continue.
Okay, thank you, Dr. S. Upadhyay ji. It's my pleasure to have been called over here to deliver this expert lecture. I'm very thankful to Dr. UP Singh ji, Dr. S. Upadhyay ji and his team members, and I'm very fortunate to be present over here to deliver this expert lecture. So can I continue, Upadhyay ji?
Yes, sir. Okay. You may please.
So, yeah, I'm going to share my screen right now.
Yes, sir.
So is it visible to everyone?
Till now it is not visible, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Visible. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Upadhyay ji. Thank you. Okay. So today our topic of discussion is recent machine learning applications in IoT. So in this lecture, first of all, I would like to briefly introduce what is IoT. Already so many classes, so many lectures have been done till now. So still I would like to introduce what is IoT. And then I would like to brief about the machine learning. What is machine learning? Then we would discuss about why we need machine learning in IoT. And finally, I would give a very beautiful example and explain the importance of IoT. Okay, so before going to the further slide, I would like to brief about it. So what is IoT? So IoT is what? IoT is an Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is a system of interconnected objects that are able to collect and transfer the data over the wireless network without human intervention. Just see here we are talking about the objects. Object is what? Object is nothing but the devices. And in case of the IoT, it would be a smart device. So basically it is a interconnection of smart devices. So smart devices is what? Devices in which it is embedded some kind of software, some kind of sensor, some kind of electronics, so hardware. So basically these are the smart devices. They are they are actually connected to each other through the internet. So they are able to collect the data, and also they are able to communicate the data from machine to server to machine to cloud, and so on. So here the first term is internet. So internet is basically a very well-known term. Everybody is knowing that it is a wide area network. So what is the purpose of internet? So using internet, basically it is providing us a communication environment so that we can communicate to each other just by sitting at our home. So we know that this is the situation, pandemic situation, corona. So we cannot have a physical face-to-face meeting. We cannot have a one-to-one meeting, physical meeting. So what is the alternate solution? So alternate solution is to use such kind of platforms, IoT-based platforms like WebEx, Zoom. These are the platforms which are providing you the environment where you can have a face-to-face meeting, you can have one-to-one interaction, virtual interaction basically without physical interaction. So due to the availability of the internet, so we can have the virtual interaction through the video calling. So we can, and even using this kind of media, we can have a gathering of hundreds of people. So there is actually we can say that there is no any limitation. So what the internet basically help us in our daily routine tasks. So we can say that, so since it is being used to connect the people to connect the people in order to communicate to each other, so it can be said as the internet of humans. But if we replace this human word with the things, then it would become the internet of things. So things is what already we have discussed. So thing is the smart devices, which are basically, it can be your mobile phone, it can be your home appliances, AC, car, refrigerator, so many things. It would be considered in smart devices. So we know that there is a need of current technology age, that many IoT devices, many smart devices are being added to the IoT network. So currently, a survey is saying that around 9 billion devices are connected to the IoT, and we are expecting around more than 64 billion devices in coming 2025. So just see the huge number of devices would be connected through the IoT, and we need to have a proper management of the data. We need to have a proper dealing with the data. So basically we need a prediction analysis. We need some analysis of the data which is being produced by the huge amount of the devices which are connected to the IoT in order to utilize it in our daily routine tasks, in other applications. It would be using in industry, it would be using for the smart city, it would be using for the agriculture, it would be using for the smart transportation. So it can have any number of applications. Now just see. Next, this is all about the IoT. Now, next term is the machine learning. So, what is machine learning? So, basically, machine learning is inspired from the human learning. So, how the human learns. So, basically, if we talk about a 2-3 years old child, so does he know what is alphabet A? Does he know what is alphabet B? So, does he able to distinguish the fruits, whether it is apple, whether it is a guava, whether it is a banana? So how he is able to distinguish, how is able to recognize those alphabets A, B, and C? So there is the involvement of a teacher, whether he or she is his parent, whether he is a school teacher. He makes him able to learn. Okay, just see, this is alphabet A, this is alphabet B. Okay, this is the guava, this is apple, this is so on. Basically, what he does, he actually at the initial stage, he gives so many examples. So just by telling one time, the child is not able to learn it. So he used to give so many examples. Okay, the next day he also tell him, okay, just this is alphabet A, this is alphabet B, this is guava, this is apple. So basically, what does it means? By basically giving so many examples by the teacher, the child is able to learn. Okay, this is alphabet A and this is alphabet B, and this is a particular fruit. So just see what happens once the child is sufficiently learned. So what will happen if you are giving any kind of new alphabet to him, and if I ask to him, then he is able to recognize that alphabet. He is able to recognize that fruit among those fruits. So this is how the human learns. So similarly, can a machine also be learned like the human being? Yes, why not? Machine can also learn like a human being. So how it can learn? How it can learn? So it can learn by giving some examples. We need some examples. So we need to provide some example in order to learn the machine. So uh, in order to learn a machine, we need certain set of examples. So how we will get those examples? Suppose if we talk about the IoT based system, so and we want to deploy a machine learning model in IoT based system. So how it could be possible? So we need a huge amount of data. So we know that the billions of devices are connected to the IoT. So they would be generating huge amount of information, huge amount of data that can be fed into the machine learning model. And once the machine learning model is able to learn by using those huge amount of data, now it is ready to predict, it is ready to take a decision, it is ready to give the decisions. Now just see, this is all about the machine learning. And why we need machine learning? Because whatever the data produced by the IoT system, if you don't apply the machine learning models, if you don't use the machine and analytical models, what would happen? This data would be having very less meaning. This data would be having very limited utilization. So this is the brief of why we should apply the machine learning models in IoT. Now here at the last, I would like to take a beautiful example that is the application of real-time example of the application of IoT, that is the IoT-based healthcare system. So how it help us in the life and death situation? Here, we are going to discuss the comparison between the healthcare system that is implemented with the help of IoT and without IoT. Basically, we are going to compare both the systems. A healthcare system is having IoT, and other healthcare system is not having any IoT. So we will see with live example that. So now, what is the great difference in between these two kinds of applications? Let's see.
मेरे को अभी तो मेरे से करा दो
Some background noise is coming. Am I audible to everyone?
कौन लिस्ट में है?
Sir, audience, please mute. Please
Okay.
mute yourself.
Okay, let's say it is the time around midnight 2 a.m. and someone has started feeling sudden pain in the heart. So it may be a symptom of heart attack disease.
ये तो अशफाक
We
अशफाक
cannot say, but it may be a symptom of heart attack kind of disease. So we assume that we have a system which is implemented almost 100% with IoT.
बात की है अशफाक भाई से.
Now, the patient will have a sir, the background noise is coming, sir. You pacing, sir? Someone is talking actually.
भेजा देखा ना उसका कोई रिस्पांस कोई दिया कि एक ही बस मित्रा फोन किया बस सिर्फ मित्रा ही फोन किया था अगर आप लोग किया हो तो पता नहीं.
Sir, you can mute him from your side also.
क्या? हाँ वही तो. हाँ
Sir, Upen sir, please unmute yourself and continue.
Am I audible? Okay. So let's say it has a time around 2 a.m. in the midnight, and someone has started feeling a head, say heart pain, a pain in heart. So maybe a symptoms of the heart attack. So here we assume that we have a system which is fully implemented with IoT. Now the patient will be having a wearable smart band in his hand. So that small, the band would be actually have a control over the heart.
Continue.
Am not able to?
You are not audible, sir.
Array, why?
Audible, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. So please confirm that. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello?
sir, you are audible.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Dr. Upadhyay is saying that I'm not audible. Yes, Dr. Upadhyay. Can you hear us? So shall I continue? I think I should continue. Dr. Upadhyay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So shall I continue?
Yes. Right now you are audible, sir. You may please continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now if we talk about the smart band, so it would have a control over the health status of a person. So it would basically measure the pulse rate, it would measure the temperature, it would measure anything. So now what would happen? This band would be having some sensors and actuators, so which can sense the current health conditions of the patient, and it tries to monitor the health conditions more specifically if we talk about the health of the heart of the person continuously. So basically it will measure the health condition of the person continuously. And what would happen if we talk about the 100% IoT system, healthcare system? So now at this time the band is getting some abnormal readings through the sensors about the health status of the heart. So now it has come to know that something is wrong with the heart condition of the patient. Now if we talk about the 100% IoT based system, so it will have an option to send basically automatic notifications to the doctors in the nearest hospital, since we know that there may be so many hospitals. So this is the beauty of IoT system, that will it itself will able to find out the nearest hospital automatically through the internet. So what would happen? So the treatment and the medication of the patient could be done so fast using this kind of technology. Now this IoT system would send the health condition, and whatever the symptoms it will have, it would send to and abnormal readings also, it would send to the concerned doctor of the respective hospital. Now, what the doctors would do over there, the doctors would start analyzing and estimating the disease of the patient from whatever the data they got of that is sent by the smart band device that is actually a patient is wearing. Now let's say they come to a conclusion that it is a heart attack kind of disease. So what would happen? So since it is a very critical and emergency condition, so the doctors would send an ambulance to the patient home to bring him to the hospital immediately. Remember here, so IoT, it would have a facility of automatic sharing of the GPS location. So everything is connected to the internet. So obviously it will have a facility to access the GPS location. So using that GPS location, the doctors would be able to send that ambulance to his home in order to bring him back to the hospital. So remember here, now just if we talk about the time duration, so that during the time when the patient will reach the hospital by the ambulance, during that time the doctors would have the enough time to analyze the severity of the heart disease. So basically how much severity that the heart disease he or she has. So what they would do, they would start collecting and arranging the required instruments. If they need operations, they would start arranging the equipments. They would start collecting the medical staffs. They would arranging the vacant patient rooms also, and even the medicines and other relevant documents also. So for the meanwhile, when the patient would reach to the hospital, for that duration, they will do all such kind of these activities. The doctors will do all these such kind of activities. Now the time when the patient comes, the doctor are ready to start the medication or the operations without any delay. Just see how quickly the things are happening. This is the beauty, this is the magic of IoT. So how quickly the things are happening. So since many devices are connected to each other in IoT, they can communicate through each other. So the things are going fast. Now we are going to discuss about the healthcare system which does not have any concept of IoT. So assume that the same situation and with the same patient. So what will happen? Just imagine the patient starts feeling a heart pain at midnight to around 2 a.m. Now, because of not any implementation of the IoT, the patient does not have any specific band kind of device, so that it can automatically send through the IoT system, it can automatically send the information to the doctors, to the nearest hospital. Now, the patient has very the severe issue and he needs some urgent medication. So basically, this is a medical urgency kind of thing. So it is a medical urgency. Now just see, there is no any IoT-based system which can send the notification to the doctors, concerned doctor, to the nearest hospital. Now what the patient will do? So while having so heavy pain,
Your PPT is not visible.
actually I have hold it. I'm just giving a brief introduction that I will start this PPT. Okay. So can you hear me, sir? Dr. Upadhyay, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Yes, within 2 minutes I would start my PPT. Actually, I'm giving a brief introduction and just I'm giving an example. I'm explaining here with some example. Okay, now just see what the patient will do. So while having so heavy pain, they would have to call his nearest relatives. So it would take time. So if the relatives come, they see, okay, the patient is having heavy pain, then they would start thinking about which hospital would be better for the treatment and where it is situated. So after a long discussion, they may search all these information through the internet also. So they would be able to come to a point, okay, we'll be able to take a decision to go to a particular hospital. Now they would arrange an ambulance. So it would take time. It may be sometimes that they may not be able to get it. Then they would arrange some auto rickshaw, some other kinds of public transport. Just see, the arrangement of public transport is not an easy task at the time of 2 o'clock in the midnight. Now, anyhow, the patient is able to reach the hospital. What would happen? There, the patient is new to the doctors. So the doctors will do, they do not have any prior information about the patient healthcare status. Then what they will do? They will first check the health condition, either by just recording the ECG or some other devices. And then they start analyzing what the actual problem the patient is having. Where is the abnormality? Whether it is a severe case or not. So all this analysis would be done after just reaching to the patient, when the person reaches to the hospital. And they would start arranging the required resources. So this was basically the additional time required in case when we don't have IoT based system in healthcare. So basically this would be done, all these things, analysis and arrangement of the items would be done in meanwhile the patient is coming to the hospital by ambulance in case of IoT based system. So just see how the IoT based system, healthcare system, would help us in saving the time and hence the life of the patient. So this could mark the difference between the life and the death. So I hope all of you have understood. I hope all of you have understood my point. So we can see the beauty of IoT based system. So it is one of the applications. It can have so many applications like this. So we can say that in coming future, IoT is going to the biggest trend in the world. Now, we have briefly discussed what is IoT. Then we discussed what is machine learning. Then we discussed why we need machine learning in IoT. Then we have taken a beautiful example of IoT based system, healthcare system. Okay. Now, I'm going to in detailed discussion. So the agenda for the today's session is, first we will, I would like to introduce the IoT, already I have done. Then what is machine learning? Then why machine learning and IoT together? Then we will discuss the what are different machine learning algorithms and their applications in IoT. Then we will discuss the machine learning based IoT system in smart city and smart transportation. Then healthcare also, then agriculture also, weather forecasting, then industrial internet, and then finally the certain set of applications, machine learning based IoT applications in industry, and then conclusion and the various IoT based projects, ML based IoT projects running, and then the references. Okay. So am I audible to everyone? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So already we have discussed the definition of IoT. So this word was coined by the Kevin Afsan in 1999. So IoT basically is an intercollection of the devices which basically does what? The collection of the data and the transfer of the data. With the help of what? With the help of wireless network, and it does not require any human intervention. So this is what the definition of Internet of Things already we have discussed. Now just see, if you talk about the IoT system, it would be having a lot of sensors, electronic devices. So they would be used for what? For the talking purpose to the cloud. So basically, the idea of the IoT is that the data would be collected by the sensors, and it would be passed through the gateways. So gateways will be basically the local processing devices, and basically they will transform the actual data into some other form so that your actual data should not be breached out. And once the data is transformed by the gateways, now it is being sent to the cloud environment. So we know that we have a cloud computing facility. Various companies are providing us, like Amazon, the Google, they are providing us the cloud computing facilities in order to store the amount of data, huge amount of data in gigabytes and terabytes. And they are also providing some computation capability also. So basically the sensors and electronic devices, basically they talk to each other, and they also talk to the cloud or through the connectivity, some kind of connectivity through the internet, some wireless network. So and then what we do over there, so in the cloud, there is some existing software, they process on it, they produce some decision to perform some action, and finally they send back to the alert or some information back to the sensors and devices, electronic devices, in order to perform the user and in order to display the result to the user. Now, if you talk about the IoT, so it would have a collection of the smart devices. So if you talk about the smart devices, so it would be a smart speaker. You might have heard about the Amazon Alexa. So it is basically playing your music as per your choice. So the Google Assistant, you know that based on your device, you can open any kind of application, any kind of the games or other things also. Now the smartwatches, for example, the Apple Watch. So Apple Watch can be used to actually basically it can be used to control all the health status. Like it will monitoring your the pulse rate, it will be monitoring your the heart rate, it would be monitoring your the temperature. So all those things would be monitored by these Apple Watch. It would also monitor so how much time you wake up. Now the internet connected baby monitors, video doorbells, even twice. So all are these actually the smart devices, example of the smart devices. So if you talk about the IoT devices, so it would have wireless sensors, it would have softwares in order to process it. Sensor for what? Sensor for sensing the data from the environment. Actuators for what? Whatever the conclusion, whatever the result come back from the IoT, from the cloud computing environment. So basically, the actuators are actually the receiving devices which receive those instructions, and those as per the instructions they perform. Now, the computing devices also. So these are the IoT devices. Now just see, one day will come then all our devices, whether it is the home appliances, whether it is our comfortable devices, all these devices would be connected to each other, and they would start talking to each other. They would not require any our intervention, human intervention. So just see, the example can be better explained over here in the second image. That just see, the device is like the doorbell, the alarm clock, and then your music system, and this is your bread toasting machine, then your bathtub, and then your coffee making machine. All these devices are connected through each other in IoT based system. So what would happen if you awake up early in the morning? So the alarm clock basically send the instruction to the your music system, and this music system will start playing your music as per your choice, as per your interest. At the same time, the coffee maker, it will also instruct the coffee making machine, and it would actually start making ready the coffee for you. And the bread and toaster machine also the same thing. It would make a breakfast for you. And the bathtub machine, it would basically make for you the warm water. Just see here how this IoT based system would help you in making your life so easy and comfortable. Now, already we have talked about the smart refrigerator, smart watches, smart fire alarm, smart door clock, bicycle, smart sensor, fitness tracker, smart security system. So these are the examples of IoT products. Now, where the IoT can be applied, in order to get the advancement in the medicine, in medical industry, in the power industry, in gene therapies, agriculture, making the smart cities, it's making the smart agriculture, smart farming, smart construction of the smart automated homes. So also all these are the various applications of IoT based systems. Now, the future scope of IoT is anytime, any place, anything in connectivity. So whatever the object is existing in this world, all of them would be connected anytime, anywhere in through the internet. So this is what the future scope of the IoT. Now, if we talk about the building of the IoT, so IoT can be built by two different ways. If you want to build for our personal purpose, for our personal organization, for our personal building, in that case we would use intranet. We would not use internet, because through internet, so outsiders can also access your IoT network. So we would build a separate internet network for the IoT system. Now, if we want to develop for the wide application, so we need to use the wide area network, that is the internet. But this would require the rigorous cloud computing and the big data storage requirement, basically. Now, just see, if we talk about the building blocks of IoT and how it works. So basically, there are four different building blocks of the IoT. The first is the in devices and the nodes, where we are actually considering the sensors, various sensors. It may be a gas sensor, water quality sensor, moisture sensor, and IR sensor, so many sensors. It may be a camera. It may be a camera also. It may be a accelerometer also. So all these devices are basically considered for this building block, and they would be actually they are actually being used to sense the information, to sense the data from the environment. Basically, they are being used to collect the data from the environment. Now, once we have collected the data, once we have collected the information, it needs to be processed. It needs to be processed through the gateways. So basically, gateways are basically the local processing nodes, where we perform some local processings, like we perform some filterings, we perform some transformation. So why we require to filter out the data from whatever the data being generated by our devices? Because if we send our actual data to the cloud environment, so since the cloud environment is easily accessible by outsider, so it may be, although there are some security privacy issues are already handled by the cloud environment, still there is a scope to breach out that your actual data, your important data. If you talk about the healthcare data, so it would be very important for us. It would be very important for a patient. So if anyhow it is breached out, so it could be actually misused. So in order to prevent those kind of issues, we need to send this data through by passing through the gateways. So what the gateways does, so it basically performs some local processing, it performs some filtering, it transforms input in some other form so that it cannot be easily reached out. Now after processing the second level, so basically it sends to the cloud environment. So cloud environment is what? So cloud environment basically is providing a facility to store any amount of data. So it can store the data of size gigabyte, terabyte, petabytes, any size of data it can have. It can have enormous amount of capacity to store the data with very basically with a limited cost. So that can be afforded. Now organization is a small organization or a small company. Now just see. What would happen? This data would be stored over here and it would be processed by some applications. So some API. So that API would be provided by the cloud environment. So now after processing, what will happen? Just see here in this diagram. So whatever the conclusion, whatever the output will be retrieved from the cloud environment, it will be again sent to the in devices in order to perform some actions. In other words, this data after processing can also be used in order to prepare the report and also to perform some prediction analysis. So this is basically the building blocks of IoT and it's working. Now just see this thing already we have discussed. Now if we talk about the am I audible to everyone? Actually, I want to check that am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Now, if we talk about the application domains of IoT, so there are various domains available where the IoT has actually entered with its full phase. Like if you talk about the smart home, 100%. If you talk about the wearable devices, 63%. If you talk about the smart city, it is around 34%. So these are basically the application domains where we don't need to discuss it because already so many lectures already done about the introduction of the IoT. Now just see. The modern applications of IoT, here we have taken only 10 very important IoT applications, although it may have so many other applications. So what are those applications? IoT can be used for the smart water management in order to prevent the wastage of the water. IoT can be used for the smart healthcare. Already we have discussed with a beautiful example. And IoT can be used for the smart wearables so that the remote monitoring of the health status of any person can be done. Now, IoT can be used for the smart transportation so that we can travel an easy way. There should be no any traffic congestion. There should be no any possibility of the traffic accidents. So all these kinds of issues would be discussed in a smart IoT-based application in smart transportation. Now, smart sustainability, smart retail, and smart cities. So, smart agriculture. So, we need smart farming so that we can have a good crop. We can have a high production of the crop. So, there are various actually concerns which could be considered and in IoT-based application of the smart agriculture, smart parking, and smart logistics. So there are so many various applications of IoT where we can deploy IoT-based systems in order to make the easy or the processes, in order to facilitate the resources, in order to utilize the resources in better way. Now, other applications and benefits of IoT, if we talk about, so LG is a well-known company. I think all of you might be aware of this company, LG. So it is basically going to launch a smart fridge. Basically, that the name is ThinkQ. So what will we do? It would have actually an automated system, and it would automatically tell you, okay, a particular food item is going to be bad. Actually, means basically it is going to be expired based on the data available in the form of the virtual stickers and expiry dates. So this is basically a smart fridge. So now LG company is going to launch it. Another example, this is very well-known news that the Indian government has decided to set up the smart cities. They have chosen some particular cities, and they are planning to, they have started also, they are planning to make smart cities. So smart cities means what? We should have various features, like it should have a smart transportation, it should have a smart parking, it should have a smart lighting system, it should have so many things can be included to make the city smart. Now, benefit of IoT, if we talk about the efficient resource utilization. So the whatever the resources we have, it should be efficiently utilized. That is the aim of the IoT. Now just see, if we talk about the home automation, smart home automation system. Suppose we don't have IoT system in our home, and one day your boss calls you, okay, it's an urgent, please come to the office. So what would happen? It may be that if you are in a hurry, and you may forget to switch off all your appliances in your home. And what would happen if you reach your office, or suddenly you remember, okay, I have forgotten to switch off all my devices. So finally, the bulb is actually the lighting, and AC is running. So all the appliances are already running. So and you have an urgent one, you cannot return back to your home. So what would happen? So the energy would be wasted. This is not the efficient resource utilization. So in that case, if your house is having an IoT based system, so a smart IoT based system, so what would happen when you are going to close down your home? The IoT system would recognize that activity of yours, and then it would automatically switch off all the appliances, home appliances. And there's so many examples. So the next is it is the benefit of it is we need to save the time. So already we have discussed example at the introduction of the IoT, that they have taken the IoT based healthcare system, how it help us in saving our time. Basically, saving the time of a patient means we are saving the life of a patient, because the every minute of a patient is very much costly. So if we save the time of a patient, it means we are saving the life of a patient. Basically, IoT based system would actually make the difference between the life and death. Now, the third is the minimizes the human efforts or the error. Obviously, if your house is having IoT based system, so it would have automatic facility to switch on and switch off the appliances. Suppose if you are living a particular room, so it will automatically switch off all your devices, your tube lights, your fans. If you enter to a particular room in your home, so it would automatically switch on the devices, your fan, your tube, electric bulb. Just see, basically, it minimizes the human efforts. You don't need to switch on, you don't need to switch off. And we know that if the human intervention is minimized, so definitely the errors would automatically be minimized. Okay. Now just see, the other benefit is the provide the better security. So this would be easily explained with an example. Suppose your house is having a IoT-based smart system, and that system also includes some CCTV camera that is installed in front of your house. And what happens is someday, any day you are planning to make a trip with your family, all family members. So what would happen? You would close down the whole house and you would go for the trip. Now, what would happen if any unwanted person wants to enter your home? So your IoT-based smart system, what it will do, it would capture the image of that person and it will send to your mobile phone. And you will see, okay, you will see the just see the notification. And you would see, okay, this is the person who wants to enter your home. So if he is the relative of yours, then what would happen? You will just call him, okay, we are outside station. If you want to stay at home, you can bring a key from somebody. If you have given a key to somebody else, so actually you can talk to him and you can give a reason that why means you are out of the station. Now just see, if the person is a thief, then what would happen? So you will see, okay, this is not your relative. You are not able to recognize him. So what would happen? you would call a police station, nearest police station, or you would call your nearest neighbor. Okay, Mr. This, please just go to my home. Somebody wants to enter my home. So this is how basically the IoT-based system provides the better security. This is a single example. You can have so many examples. Now, the last is the user-friendly and easy to use. So basically, the IoT-based system is providing the application program interface and the dashboard also, which can be easily accessed and used by anyone, any user, whether he is a technical person or whether he is not a technical person. Now just see another application. If I talk about the home making, coffee making machine. So if it is a smart coffee making machine, so by just swiping the card, it would automatically make a coffee for you. And then what would happen if you talk about an industry? So most of the industry, they are actually using this kind of device. So what happens by swiping the card, you are able to get the coffee from the machine, and by this controller, basically this is a microcontroller which is programmed in such a way so that it takes the input from the coffee machine. There are some sensors, so it takes the input from the coffee machine and it sends back to the computer where the database is available over there. So once you have actually taken a coffee from the machine, one transaction would be sent back, will be sent to this microcontroller. This microcontroller will send a message to this database computer in order to store that transaction. So that transaction would be stored in database. And at the end of the month, what would happen? That amount of money of that particular employee would be deducted from his salary. So this is basically the smart IoT-based system. Now, the another picture. So am I audible to everyone? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you. Now here, the second example is the smart home automation system. Just see, we have been provided a single screen, whether it is on your mobile phone, or it may be in your computer screen as a web screen, web browser. So by you have been provided an API, and there are several buttons available in order to control all the devices which are connected, appliances which are connected to this IoT-based system in your house. So you would be able to control each and every devices by just clicking on that button. So this is the beauty of smart home automation system. Suppose if you are at office and this is the time of 5 o'clock, you want to leave your office, and you think that okay, if I reach the home, the AC should be working over there. It means we want a chilled room. So how we can do that? By just sitting at office and by opening that web browser, web application, by clicking on that particular button, your AC will be started. And when you reach to the home, you will find out your room with that cold environment. So just see, this is the beauty of the such IoT-based smart systems. Now, this is the system which telling you that there is a PIR sensor. This PIR sensor is basically used to detect the motion of a human being. So, suppose if you enter into the room, so if this IoT-based system is installed in your house and in your room, so PIR sensor will automatically detect that motion, and it will send the instruction to your microcontroller. The microcontroller is programmed in such a way that if it receives a particular kind of instruction from the PIR sensor, so it would send instruction to this power monitor, and this power monitor actually does what? It does basically it does the switch on and switch off of all your appliances. So if you enter into your room, so what will happen? Just see here, PIR sensor, so your lamp would be switched on. Similarly, if you talk about the fan, so there would be a temperature sensor. So if the temperature is increased, room temperature is increased just after 1,000 threshold value, so what would happen? It would automatically start the fan. If the temperature of the room is actually decreased and it falls below the threshold value, so it would automatically switch off the fan. So basically, the whole idea of this actually example is that see how the IoT-based system is helping us in making our task easy and making us ourselves in comfort zone. These are the various internet IoT based projects which are running in India. The smart energy based project in Ghaziabad, smart transportation in Visakhapatnam, IoT based smart health system in Chennai, IoT based smart education in Tamil Nadu, IoT based smart IT and communication in Bangalore, IoT based smart environment in Mumbai, smart building in Gujarat, IoT based smart governance in Bhopal. So these are the various projects that are running in India which are actually IoT based. Now just see, what are the IoT challenges? Obviously, the IoT devices are basically generating huge amount of data, and if it is a, suppose for example, if it is a healthcare related data, so there is a chance the privacy issue, there is a security issue, there is a chance to breach out that data by some other attacker, some other outsiders. So so we need such a kind of systems, communication systems, so that we can have we can resolve those security and privacy issues. Now, just see what are the issues. DOS, denial of services, distributed denial of services, information manipulation, unauthorized access, information diffusion. These are various issues which can occur in IoT-based network system. So what is denial of service? Ali, you might be having knowing about it. Denial of service is what? Suppose we know that there is a client and server based network. If you talk about any IoT network, so there will be a client, there will be a server. The client would be sending the request, and server would be accepting that request and responding to that request. Now, what will happen if there is an attacker, a machine which acts as an attacker, and he's sending a continuous malware request, continuous the garbage request, that is unwanted request. So huge amount of, so basically there is what occurs, it creates a pool of those unwanted and garbage requests. So what would happen? The server side, if it receives those pool of the garbage requests, so it gets hanged. So it is unable to understand what to do and how to do. In that case, basically it moves to the dead kind of stage, down stage. Then what will happen if there is a valid user and that user is actually is giving a valid request to the server. Now, since the server in a down state because of that huge amount of unwanted and garbage requests, so the server is not able to responding to the valid request also. So this is basically the denial of service kind of issue. The other things I think don't require to discuss, because already I think this lecture might be already held. Now, if you talk about the accuracy of the operations, obviously, whatever the sensor we are using, if the sensors are faulty, if we don't have good power management system, so in that case, we would get a very fault data. Even we can also get some missing data also, or disrupting of the data. So incomplete data, by using those incomplete data, how can we proceed further? How can we take the decisions, better decisions? If we have incomplete data, if we have a faulty data, how can we take a better decision? So basically, this can be overcome with the help of some algorithms, which would be discussed later on slides. Now, here we're talking about the 3 V's of the big data. There are 3 V's: V for volume, V for velocity, V for the variety. So we have a huge amount of volume of data. We need very high speed of data, data transfer. We have a variety of the data, heterogeneity of the data. So all these kind of issues, we need such a good algorithm so that it can handle all these kinds of issues. Now, one more important challenge is the interconnectivity. We know that IoT is nothing but the connection of all the devices. It may be mobile phones, it may be computers, it may be any electronic devices. So the devices are basically of heterogeneous nature. They are not of a similar kind of nature. So definitely, if you want to communicate in between those devices, we need a common platform. We need a common language. Since they have heterogeneity in their nature, so how can we find out a common platform. So just see, this is also a very crucial challenge. Now, now we are going to discuss why machine learning, how the machine learning would help the IoT-based systems much better, much improved, much smart. So what is machine learning? So machine learning is nothing but a part of the artificial intelligence. It is the part of the artificial intelligence. So what is intelligence? So intelligence is what? Intelligence is to acquire and apply the knowledge and skills. Means first you need to acquire. What do you need to acquire? You need to acquire the knowledge and skills. Once you have acquired the knowledge and skills, you should be able to apply it on real-time examples, real-time environment. So this is what the intelligence. Now, what is artificial intelligence? So you want to create an intelligence in a artificial machine. So you want to create an artificial intelligence in a machine. That is the idea of artificial intelligence. Now just see. So how can we create the intelligence? With the help of machine learning. So machine learning is the module which helps in creating the intelligence in the machine. So artificial intelligence deals with the creation of systems that can learn to emulate human tasks using their prior experience and without any manual intervention. Just see here, it does not require any manual intervention. Means just you need to just use a particular algorithm, machine learning algorithm, and you need to provide some set of examples, and that is enough. And your machine itself will be able to learn by using those examples and by using that machine learning algorithms. Now, if your machine is able to learn enough, if it is learned enough, means if our expectation is that it should be learned around 80%, means accuracy should become around 80%. So we can say that it is sufficiently learned. Now, once it is learned, now we can give any input to this model and we can get the output corresponding to that input using that model. Now, this model is able to predict the output to corresponding to any input that belongs to that particular domain. Now, just see, basically, we just want to develop an intelligent system. So there will be more than, already we have discussed, in 2025, there would be more than 65 billion IoT devices would be connected through the IoT. Just see, such a huge number of devices would be connected to IoT, that they would be producing huge amount of information, huge amount of data. So what would happen? So if you just save in cloud environment those data, huge amount of data, so what does it mean? So means it has a limited meaning. But if you are using some machine learning algorithms and we are able to find out some conclusion, we are able to find out some useful outcomes from the data, so that it can be used further for further processing, for further improvement of the IoT devices, then it would be better. So the machine learning, basically machine learning helps you in finding out the pattern from the data. You have a huge amount of data, you need to extract some pattern from the data. That pattern is nothing but, that pattern would actually helping you in making the decisions, better decisions, in making the predictions. And those decisions would be actually being actually taken by the actuators, and actuators would be responsible to perform some actions. So that is the point where artificial intelligence or the role of machine learning comes into the picture. Now, IoT is used to collect and handle the huge amount of data that is required by the artificial intelligence algorithm that is called the machine learning algorithms. So we need to handle huge amount of data. So what these algorithms do, it converts the data into useful, actionable results. And these actionable results can be better utilized by our IoT devices. So we can say that it would try to create intelligence to our IoT devices, and we would say that IoT devices itself are able to make the decisions like a human being. Although we cannot exactly compare with the human being, but it's still somewhat somewhat extent, we can say that the machine can also have intelligence like a human being if you are using such kind of machine learning algorithms. So basically, if we combine the machine learning and IoT, so basically this is a powerful combination. So it would transform the industries. So कहते हैं ये नहीं just say that the क्रांति ला दिया, उसी तरह से artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithm, they have actually created such a kranti to IoT based applications. IoT is like the body and the artificial intelligence, the brain, which together can create the new value propositions, the business models, the revenue streams, and the services. So basically, we can say that the AI or the machine learning acts like a brain, and the IoT just like acts as a body. Both are complementary to each other. They are very important. Both are important to each other. So in other words, we can say that artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things is just like a match made in technical heaven. As we say that the couples are made in heaven, so similarly we can say that the artificial intelligence, basically the machine learning, the major part of the artificial intelligence is covered by the machine learning. So the artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things is just like a match made in technical heaven. So basically, this is an exciting new time to live in for both, for the humans as well as the machines. So the machine learning, how it would be helpful in IoT-based applications. So it would be helpful in constructing the network optimization, then in avoiding the congestions, traffic congestions, then the optimization of the resource allocations, and also if you talk about the real-time or the offline, whether it real-time data analysis also and offline data analysis also, and the decision making. So all these in all these points actually will be helped by the machine learning algorithms in IoT-based applications. Now, to start, what is machine learning? Already I have told you the machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence that provides the system the ability to automatically learn and improve from the experience without being explicitly programmed. You see here, this is the beauty of machine learning. You don't require to write down a separate program to learn. You have a machine learning algorithm available, and that machine learning algorithm itself able to make that device learn from the given examples. So it automatically learns, and it also improves itself also. So basically, how it improves itself, the performance of the system is improved with the help of artificial intelligence, machine learning, by repetitive learning. Means we are providing the input examples repeatedly, and the machine repeatedly learns. And after a sufficient sufficient number of learning, now your machine is able to predict correct output, able to give the correct results, and able to make the decisions. So you don't require to write down explicitly the program explicitly. Now see, we can take a beautiful example to understand the machine learning. Now just see, if I ask you, what is this? So instantly you will say, okay, this is pen. Then again, if I ask you, what is this? So you instantly say, okay, this is pencil. So how do you know that this is pen and this is how do you come to know that this is pen and this is pencil? If you were at the age of 2 years, would you could you able to identify these items, these pens and pencils? No. So how do you come to know that this is pen and this is pencil? So your teachers, your parents, they make you able to understand. Okay, they told you that, okay, this is pen. Next day also somebody told you, okay, this is pen. Yeah, another day the teacher comes and they say, okay, this is pen. So what happens? So basically the same example is repeated and it is being told to you that okay, this is pen and this is pencils. Means by just looking into those examples, so what happens? Your eye means that is the your basically the sensor, the visible sensor. The visible sensor are doing what? They are actually capturing the images of the object, and those images are being actually processed through your brain. And what happens? So brain, what it does, it extracts the patterns from the whatever the data, whatever the images that has been captured by your eyes, and that pattern is being stored in your brain. And again, when this image comes in front of you, this pen comes in front of you, your eyes capture the image, and this image goes to your brain, and your brain is basically extracts the pattern from that image, and then it starts doing matching. If it is matching with your database, which is stored in your mind, then it is now you are able to say, okay, you are able to recognize that, okay, this is pen. So basically, by certain examples, you are able to learn that, okay, this is pen and this is pencil. So similarly, we can also make a machine able to learn by providing a set of examples. So this is a machine, this is a computer. We want to learn, make it learn. We want to train this model, this machine, by giving certain set of examples. But remember here, we need to provide both the input and the output as well. Means if you are giving an image of a pen, so then we need to provide the information along with that, the output information, that is, it is pen. The image, the input data, then along with the output data. So we will provide a set of input data and the output data for the training the model. Now using those training examples, our model, our computer, our machine tries to learn by using some algorithms. I would discuss those algorithms later on. Now, once it is able to learn enough, what would happen if next time if you are giving any unknown test input, any input, so what would happen? This your trained model would be able to recognize that this is a pen. So this is how the machine model can learn. Just see, if you talk about the categories of the machine learning algorithms, so basically this is all the 4 types: the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. So supervised learning is what? We need a supervisor. For example, here the classroom teaching. Classroom teaching, the teacher-student teaching is an example of supervised learning. So in supervised learning, we need a supervisor who tells us, who teaches us. Okay, this is pen, this is pencil, this is alphabet A, this is apple, this is guava. So who teaches? So we need a trainer, we need a supervisor in case of supervised learning. So how it performs supervised learning? Just see, if we talk about the classroom teaching, so for the whole semester, the teacher teaches the students. He tells him that, okay, actually he gives the questions along with the answers. So basically how he teaches, so in every class, he gives some questions and correspondingly he also gives some answers. Then what happens, so after the end of the semester, so once the set of the students may be treated as a model. They now, after the 5 months or the 6 months teaching, we can say that, okay, our model is they're trained, our model is learned enough. Now we are going to test it whether this model is learned enough or not. How much efficiency is coming, how much efficient our model is. So how we test those models? We, at the end of the semester, we provide the question paper to the students. At the questions, they attempt the questions, they give the answers. And based on those answers and responses given by the students, the teacher evaluates them. So if they suppose overall, if there are 100 students in the class, and what the teacher will do, the teacher would compute the average marks, total marks, average marks obtained by the students. So if the question paper maximum marks of the question paper is 100, and on an average the students are getting 80% marks, so we can say that the the model, our model, the efficiency of the model is 80%. So our whatever the model we have trained for the last 6 months, that model is how much efficient? That model is 60% efficient. That is the supervised learning. So it can be again class. It can work on the continuous target variable and again the categorical target variable. If we talk about the continuous, so it is classified as a regression. If we talk about the categorical, it is known as the classification. So house price prediction is an example of regression method. Then medical imaging like tumor detection and other medical imaging based problems, they are actually the classification kind of problems. Now, unsupervised learning. In unsupervised learning, we don't require any supervisor. We don't have any supervisor. You automatically have to learn of whatever the data you have. Just see, if you want to, if I give you a bucket in which the 2 different kinds of fruits, but I don't tell you that this bucket is having 2 different kinds of fruits, apple and guava. Now, I would tell you that if you don't know what type of the fruits is actually put in your bucket, I will tell you that please classify what different kinds of objects in your bucket. So what you would do, based on some property, you would actually arrange those fruits in their own groups. First of all, you will see, okay, 2 different kinds of objects is we are able to see. So apple are looking something like this, guava is looking something like this. So based on the color, based on the shape information, based on some other attributes also, group those fruits into 2 different groups. This is what called the clustering. That is, this is what's called the unsupervised learning. There's no any supervisor involved over there. So here the see, no target variable is available. We have only input data. Based on some features of the input data, we need to organize. We need to organize into different clusters. Now see, example is clustering and association. Example of clustering is customer segmentation. Association is the market basket analysis. Here the semi-supervised learning, we don't have the, just see here, in supervised learning, we have a labeled data set. It is required. It is required means we should have a certain set of input data and as well as the output data. That is called the labeled data set. While in case of semi-supervised learning, we will not be having any labeled data set. So what we'll do here, so we will apply some unsupervised kind of method. Once we are able to find out the different classes, different clusters, again we will actually assign some labels to the data, and again we will apply some supervised learning methods. So basically, this is the this can be considered as the half of the computation is done by the unsupervised, and other half of the computation is done by the supervised learning. That is the semi-supervised. For example, the classification, so that is the text classification, and the clustering, that is the lane finding on GPS data. Now the reinforcement learning, that we don't have any labeled data set, we need to learn ourselves. So it is based on basically the reward and penalty based system. It can be better understood with an example. Suppose suddenly, unfortunately, if suppose you have been dropped to an island where you don't know anyone, means nobody is there, no humans are there. There may be wild animals, the climate may be different, the water quality of the water would be different, there would be different kinds of trees. So you don't know anything over there, and suddenly you have been dropped over there. So initially you would be in panic situation. What could you do? What you can do over there? But if the time passes, so you would start thinking, okay, I have to live here. Anyhow, I have to live here. There is no any other option. So I have to learn. I have to anyhow learn how to live in this situation. So you would start exploring those things. So basically, exploration, exploitation, these are the 2 important terms under reinforcement learning. So you would start analyzing, okay, what kind of environment it is having. So you would start analyzing what kind of water it is having. Can I take it or not? So basically, you start learn yourself over there, you start learning yourself over there. That is all the reinforcement learning. So example is the optimized marketing and the driverless cars. Now, if we talk about the supervised learning, so supervised learning, so we have labeled data set. Already some data should be given to you. That should be labeled. The input data as well as the output data. X is the input data, Y is the output data. So we need to formalize a mathematical model F. We need to formalize this F so that we can find out this kind of equation. And once we are find out this equation, y is equal to f of x, we are able to find out the value of y corresponding to a value of x. That this is what the supervised learning. Now, if you talk about the unsupervised learning, that is the clustering. So this is actually a group of items. We don't know which what is the name of each items, but we just based on the properties, its properties, we need to group into certain number of clusters. So if we look into it, just see there are two different kinds of devices or the items present over here. We don't know the name of these items. Suppose, for example, so we see that there are two wheels. So these items, three items are there, which is having only two wheels, and some other properties are also matching for these three items. So what we will do, we would group these three items into one group. That is the cluster 2. The other items like this and this and this, the see there are four wheels, and the shape are also very much similar to each other, and some other properties are also similar. So based on those properties, we can say that these items should be grouped in cluster number 1. So this is how the clustering algorithm works. So there is no any supervisor. Without supervisor, we need to group, we need to classify the data into their own clusters. So supervised learning of two types, classification and the regression. Already we know that. So classification basically it is a kind of categorical problems. Regression is for the continuous kind of problems where we want to predict some, like we want to predict the house price. So that would come under the regression. If you want to classify the cats and dogs, if you want to classify the men and women, if you want to classify the spam mails and the valid emails, so this would be basically example of the classification. Just see here. Here we are classifying two different objects, entities. One is a set of women and one is a set of men. So based on their properties, we need to classify into two classes. Here just news articles. So it can be classified into three classes. If the news is related to the food article, a sport article. It is related to politics, then it is the politics related article. Similarly, we can have a classification problem in order to classify the spam emails and the valid emails. So it will basically classify into two groups: the inbox, which is having the valid emails, and the spam folder, which will be having the spam folders. And similarly, here we have a data in tabular format, and the last row is actually telling you the output, and the previous rows are telling you the attributes of each element in the data set. So basically, in learned supervised learning, basically we divide the whole data set into two sets. One set is called the training set, and other set is called the testing data set. Now this training data set is having, both will be having labeled data set. Labeled means it will be having the labeled input as well as the output also. These input, so input is what? Input will be having, just see if we talk about this table. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 4 columns which basically belongs to the input data, and the last column belongs to the output data. So every row, we just see for all these attributes, the output is coming this much. Yes or no, in the form of yes or no. It may be in other forms also. It can have more than 2 classes also. Now just see, this training data is provided to the learning model in order to learn it, in order to train it. Now once this model is trained enough, after certain iterations, now it is able to predict. So now how we test whether this model is how much learned, how much efficient this model is, by using this testing data set. Basically, if we suppose if we are having 100 data set overall, so in general, that is not any strict rule, but in general, what, am I audible to everyone? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Okay. So, okay. So how much time is left?
Yes.
Actually, I have to discuss a lot. Oh. Sorry. So basically what we do here, if you have a suppose 100 size samples of data sets, so in general what the people do, around 70% 80% data is used for the training, and the remaining 20% or the 30% data is used for the testing. Now 70% data has been used for the training. Now once it is trained enough, now the remaining 20% data would be used for the testing. Now we would take each example one by one, and we would test whether this model is giving the correct result or not. Suppose if there are 100 data in test data set, and out of 100, this model is predicting the valid result, but predicting the correct results for the 80 data. There are 100 data in test data set. So out of those 100 data, so 80 data for 80 data test data set, this model is predicting the correct results. So we can say that this model is 80% efficient. Now, this is the difference between the classification, regression, and the clustering. So in classification, we have two different kinds of spam and non-spam. If we talk about the regression, so we need to predict the house price, so based on some features. And if you talk about the clustering, already we have told you that the group of cyclists and the group of four-wheelers, and so similarly the clustering also. Now just see, if you talk about the regression, so regression is what? Regression is to find out the relationship between different entities, or among more than two entities also. Just see, if you talk about two different entities, so one would be the independent variable, other would be the dependent variable. So we need to find out this value of f, the function f. So this function f would be nothing but a regression line. So just see here, there are two different entities, x and y, and we have plotted in two-dimensional space here. We have plotted here. Just see what is the trend it is giving us. The trend is giving us if we increase the value of x, the value of y also increases. So basically it follows somehow, not exactly, it follows somehow the pattern of the straight line, that is called the regression line. Now there are some examples which would be discussed in this lecture, supervised and unsupervised learning. Just see here, if you talk about the linear regression, so it has been used for the traffic congestion predictions. So whatever the data set we are getting from the IoT based sensors, so those data set are being passed to the learning models. For example, the random forest, multi-layer perceptron, support vector machine. These are some machine learning algorithms. Actually, these are some machine learning algorithms. So actually, I am already running out of time, and I need to discuss a lot over here. So linear regression, then k-nearest neighbor, decision trees, support vector machine. All these terms are already aware. Most of you might have aware of all these terms: artificial neural network, multi-layer perceptron, k-means clustering, deep learning, like the convolution neural network. So all these machine learning algorithms have been utilized in IoT-based applications in constructing the smart cities, in construction of the smart transportation, in developing the models for the smart agriculture, smart healthcare. All these machine learning models have been already used by the researchers. Now just see. So this regression was used in order to predict the traffic congestions. Once our model is able to predict the traffic congestions, we can avoid traffic congestions by suggesting the people, okay, you can move towards that, you can follow that path instead of following this path. So basically, this model was developed by a group of researchers, that is the Davy et al. In 2017, and they got around 99.9% accuracy. Just see here how the regression works. I would like to discuss it here. Suppose we have a case study. We have a set of data of CGPA and corresponding GRE score. We want to know the trend whether the higher CGPA is also having the higher GRE score. Means the student who is getting the highest CGPA is also getting the highest GRE score. So we need this kind of study, and also we want to predict the approximate GRE score for a given CGPA also. whatever the CGPA is given over here, if we take another CGPA, so can we get can we estimate the corresponding GRE score for that also? So this can be done with the help of regression analysis. Let's see here, using this tabular data, we can plot it here. So x-axis correspond to CGPA and y-axis correspond to the GRE score. Now just see, can we are able to estimate the GRE score for a CGPA value of 8.32? So just see, this can be obtained with the help of the regression line. But what happens if you see, it can have any number of regression lines. So we need to actually find out the best fit regression line. So how we can find out the best regression line? So finally, the concept in order to find out the best fit regression line is that we need to find out the distance of each point with every straight line. That distance should be actually parallel to the y-axis. That is called the residual. Just say y naught minus yp. So we need to compute the y naught minus yp, then we would square it, then we will find out the summation. So summation is what? Summation for all the points that is plotted over here. Now just see, for a particular straight line, regression line, for what this term is coming least, just see, out of these three, this one is coming least, that would be the best fit line. So this would be basically our regression line, and this regression line could be used in order to find out the GRE score corresponding to any SSC code score for a particular student. Now just see here. So similarly, just this is an example of IoT-based traffic recommendation services. So basically here there are different traffic sensors are installed over there in different places, and those sensors are doing what? They are collecting the information, and those information or data are being fed to the basically they are passing through the gateways, and gateways are basically passing these data to the data center, that is the cloud center. And when the data is available over here, so this data being used for what? For the prediction analysis, for the data analysis. Now, so it can be used for the emergency planning or developing an emergency planning recommendation system in order to planning the better traffic recommendation system, and it can also be used for the urban planning system. But what would happen if there is some problem with this sensor? If maybe sensor maybe having some fault, maybe there is some power failure, maybe there is some hacking, maybe there is some disaster, maybe there is some connection error. So because of these issues, it may be that some information or some data may be missing over there, and incomplete data would reach over there in data center. So if we perform the analysis and prediction on incomplete data, so it would not be giving our correct results. It would not be having the correct predictions. So how we can overcome this kind of issues? So we can apply a regression machine learning model in order to overcome those issues. Now just see here what we can do in order to repair those missing values. So we can delete the incomplete information, we can manually repair, we can substitute by a constant value, or the last we can replace it by the last observations, or we can also replace it by some mean value. And the last one is we can estimate the most probable value, that by using the regression method, that is the machine learning method. So out of these four, the first three strategies are not suitable. The last one is most effective because it does not require any manual intervention. So it basically estimates the most probable values based on what? Based on the whatever the observations already done previously. Based on those observations, we would actually plot in x and y axis, and based on finding out the best regression line, we are able to find out those missing values. So those missing values will be actually will be repaired by those estimated values by the regression analysis. So this is how actually this work was actually done by the Peng, a group of researchers, that is Peng et al. In 2019, and they got very good results. Similarly, if we talk about support vector machine, so actually Dr. UP Singh ji, Dr. Upadhyay sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I think
Yes, sir.
Do we have do we have 5 or 10 minutes more? Can I continue?
Yes, sir. You may continue. You may continue.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, support vector machine is a supervised machine learning based algorithm which is basically being used to classify the different class data. So it can be better understood by example. Suppose we have a set of two different set of animals. One set of the rabbits and other set of the wolves. We know that wolves are very dangerous. They can attack on the rabbits. So we need to protect our rabbits from the set of wolves. So what we can do? So we need to actually set up a fence in between them. So we need to find out a decision boundary. So using decision boundary, if we anyhow set up a fence corresponding to a decision boundary, then in that case we can save our rabbits from the wolves. So this is how the support vector machine also works. Support vector machine basically finds out a decision boundary just like a hyperplane, which would be able to classify two or more different classes. So this SVM was actually used by a group of researchers, that is the Novak et al. In 2016. And they actually named it. This model was named it that the intrusion detection and mitigation framework, IoT-based intrusion detection and mitigation framework. So what is intrusion? So basically, they have built a model which is actually able to detect the malicious activity, any garbage request that the request that is sent by some attacker. So it is able to find out the malicious activity based on what? Based on the signatures. So means this model was initially trained with the signatures available for the valid user and the malicious user also, the attacker also. So they basically they would be having they could be having a data set which would be already have the label data set, like the signature of the attacker, some attacker examples, and some signature of the valid user. So they trained the model using the support vector machine, and after training, their model was giving very good results, and their model were able to detect and analyze both the incoming as well as the outgoing network traffic for the abnormal activities. Just see here, another classifier is the k-nearest neighbor classifier. So nearest neighbor classifier is based on calculating the distances among the test data set and the training data set. So this would be easily understood by example. So suppose I want to know about a person. So actually I don't know anything about a person, and I want to know how kind of person that he is. So how can we know about him? So what we would do, we will find out his near and dear friends. So the nearest neighbor classifier also works like this. So we would find out his nearest friends. So if you talk about the value of k, so value of k, if value of the k is 10, so we would find out the 10 friends. If the value of k is 20, then we would find out the 20 friends. So we would find out his nearest 20 nearest friends if we take the value of k 20. Now out of those 20, I would talk to them, and I would take their suggestions. Okay, what kind of that person is, and out of those 20 observations, if the majority of them is saying okay, that person is good, so we conclude that okay, that person is having good personality. So this is how the k nearest neighbor works. Just see here in this diagram, we are taking 3 samples. So basically, this is the test data set, and this is the these are the two different training data set. We just calculate the distance among from each and every training data set, and we just find out the least 3 distances. So among least 3 distances, so which class is having the highest majority, means majority of the voting concept, that would decide the class of the data. So this is how this k nearest neighbor classifier works. So this k nearest neighbor classifier was used by a set of researchers, Ozbeglu et al. in 2016. So they basically use this model in detecting the automatically detecting the accident, what happened already happened. So basically, and also the road surface abnormalities. So they used this model in order to build this such kind of tool which can automatically detect the accidents, and also it can also detect the surface abnormalities. Now this is the artificial neural network. So if you talk about the artificial neural network, so it basically resembles with the human brain biological neural network. So where we have where we have a set of neurons, we have a set of input layers, we have a set of output layers, and there are hidden layers. So hidden layers and output layers are basically the processing layer. Whatever the input we give through the input layer, those data is basically processed inside the hidden layer and output layer, and we get the output layer corresponding to whatever the label data set we have provided over here. Now just see how it performs the processing. So there is actually a connection between the nodes of the previous layer with the next layer, and they are basically the weights are assigned to these edges, and these weights are being multiplied with the input, and they are being added with some constant, some bias values b. So what we are doing here, we are finding out the summation of xi and wi. So each input is multiplied by the weights. These weights are nothing but the strength of the signal which flows through the nerves, the human brain. Okay, just see here, if we compute this value, and after computing this value, we pass it through a function f. F is nothing but a activation function which actually introduces a non-linearity in this model. So what happens? So so it basically this kind of architecture can be used in order to solve the problem which is having some high complex structure. So this model was used by the set of researchers named as Eli et al. In 2016 in order to do the 3D analysis. They got around 99.4% accuracy. Similarly, the convolutional neural network, and this is the deep learning based model. This was used in order to find out the blind spot detection for the smart vehicles. Then if you talk about the smart city, smart transportation, so many people have worked on machine learning based models in order to prevent the road accidents, short-term and long-term traffic flow forecasting, then the surface abnormality detection, then road accident detection, then traffic congestion detection. They have worked. Many people have worked on these kind of applications. Similarly, for the route optimization also. Similarly, for the smart parking also, many people have worked. Smart light system also. Now, many people have worked on the healthcare system in order to develop the smart IoT-based healthcare system by using the machine learning techniques. And agriculture also, they have worked on the weather forecasting. So what is the benefit of the weather forecasting? So it can also predict the cyclones in advance. So what will happen? So we are able to shift the people from the cyclone zone to other safe zone. So basically, this module is basically doing what? It is basically saving the life of the people. So basically, many people have worked on using, they have worked on developing a weather forecasting module, ML-based IoT module using ANN, SVM, and regression machine learning methods. This is the industrial internet. We talk about the Google driverless car. Already we know that. So these are the various industrial applications which are actually, they have used machine learning along with the IoT. And the see here how the machine learning and artificial intelligence has revolutionized the IoT-based applications. So there are so many applications. If we talk about the automation, so automation cannot be performed without the help of machine learning. So we need to apply machine learning algorithms in order to develop smart IoT-based systems. So this is basically the machine learning-based IoT projects and references. Thank you very much. Sorry for actually taking so much time. Dr. Upadhyay, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very
Yes, sir.
much. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So I would like to invite questions from the
Thank you,
audience.
sir. Thanks a lot for such a nice lecture, and definitely you have taken some extra time, but that I think you have given many times more in terms of
Thank you.
knowledge.
Thank
And audience, please, you may ask the question. I have already written in chat box, but there is no any query.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes. Can you please
sir.
ask? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I found this topic very interesting. Can you
Okay.
please share your email ID in such a way,
Sure.
such that
Sure.
if we need to
Sure.
ask you
Sure.
anything regarding
Yeah, I am just pasting my email ID in the chat box.
Okay.
You can find over there.
Okay, sir. I just found this topic very interesting, and you covered all the things so well
Thank you
that
very much.
we just came to learn so many things.
Are you able to find out my email ID? I have just
Yes,
posted
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's there.
yes, yes, yes. It is in chat box now.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any more question from?
Yeah, you are
Any more
welcome to ask
questions?
any questions. Yeah. Audience, please.
So attendees, I think they are not willing to ask question. Everything they have got.
Thank you.
So finally, sir, thanks a lot.
Thank you,
And
sir. Thank you.
I appreciate, on behalf of all participants, I appreciate your efforts that you have tried to make it interactive, and you have shared a lot of knowledge.
Thank you. So I'm very
Thanks
thankful
a lot.
I'm